and community throughout my life. When looking for a bank to call home, it was easy to choose Midwest Bank. I never feel like just another customer, and they're proud to support their communities. They love what they do, and it shows. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
Hey Nebraska! Register today for the 40th Annual Cornhusker State Games, taking place July 11th through the 21st in Lincoln, Omaha, and other Nebraska communities. The Cornhusker State Games features 70 sports for athletes of all ages and abilities. Price increases are approaching, so register early and save. For details, go to cornhuskerstategames.com. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel with Gatorade, brought to you by Pepsi Cola of Lincoln, a proud partner of the Cornhusker State Games.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Power combo BOGO? Huh?
Yes, if you purchase an air conditioner, you receive a furnace completely free. At John Henry's, our professionals want to ensure you are comfortable in your home all year long, no matter what Nebraska has to throw at us. Call today to schedule your free estimate and learn more about the free furnace waiting for you. Give John Henry's a call today.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And Electrical.
Bagels and Joe is the perfect place for breakfast or lunch in April. Try their brand new cake batter cream cheese on any breakfast sandwich. And try the caramel latte, as 10% of proceeds from that drink will go to the Foundation for Lincoln Public Schools. 4 locations in Lincoln and 1 in Seward. Bagels and Joe.
Are you looking to get into the electrical construction industry or wanting a new scene? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Homeowners, is your yard in distress? Is your lawn being held hostage by stubborn and unruly weeds? Never fear, lawn lovers. Weedman is here. We'll rescue your lawn and restore its beautiful emerald green glory. The results of our expertly applied program are sure to impress the toughest of critics, your neighbors. Take that, Dale. Vanquish weeds and transform your lawn this year with Weedman Lawn Care. Get 50% off your first application. Go to weedman.com today. Terms and conditions apply. Go to weedman.com today.
It's officially one of the greatest weeks of the year on the sports calendar, Masters Week. Book your tee time today with friends, family, or coworkers at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Doors open at 10 a.m. from Thursday to Sunday, and they'll have food directly from Augusta National, like pimento cheese sandwiches, Georgia pecan caramel popcorn, and lots more. Plus specialty drinks to get you in the mood for the greatest golf tournament in the world. Book a bay today at doubleeagle.golf.
School tells you all about the 4 seasons. Spring, summer, and so on. And then there's a way we really tell what time of year it is. Sports seasons, football season, baseball season, or even off season. Well, what's the chocolate season? Well, it's now, of course. And now, and always. Whether you're looking for a caffeinated pick-me-up on the way to work, a little snack on the way home, or you need the perfect gift that's sure to be appreciated. It's time for the chocolate season, y'all. 40th and Old Cheney, or order ahead at thechocolatseason.com. See you there.
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador. Online at prg-ne.com.
It's the best time of the year to order a new John Deere sprayer during Landmark Implement's Fast Start Early Order program. Leverage the industry's latest technology with See & Spray to target weeds in season in corn and soybeans and use less herbicide per acre. Utilize Exact Apply to save in chemical usage and prevent over-application. Now is the time to lock in the best price of the year during Landmark Implement's Fast Start Early Order program. Contact your local Landmark location for full details and experience the Landmark difference.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
This is going to be a good one.
The fans of Kansas Speedway know how to have a good time. One that celebrates fantastic finishes and family-friendly facilities. Trading paint. We got feuding and tailgating tradition. Burnouts, beer, and barbecue. Oh, it'll for sure be a good time, and you are all invited. NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, May 4th and 5th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
Looking for a job that feels like family? Join Lincoln Industries, where tradition meets innovation. They're a family-owned, privately held manufacturing company with a passion for excellence and a commitment to their community. They have openings on all shifts at both the main plant and air park facilities, offering flexibility to fit your schedule. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, there's a place for you there. At Lincoln Industries, they invest in their people's success, providing opportunities for growth and advancement. Apply now and become a part of something special at Lincoln Industries. What a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh yeah, this is a game changer.
Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown. 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker and one more.
Demorne Pierson-El.
Not only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome into the Don't Punt Hour. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos as always. And if you were expecting Royals change of events, and again, that's why it's a little bit of a late start here, but the Royals looks like they got rained out. So again, their game's going to be postponed tomorrow. And if I believe correctly, it looks like they're going to be having them go 2 games tomorrow instead to make up for the one tonight. As you're aware, if you're around the Lincoln area and you were here at 4 a.m., it's been a torrential downpour. It's going to keep raining today. And looks like maybe even more tomorrow. So again, no Royals tonight. Looks like it's getting postponed for tomorrow. But in the meantime, we got the Don't Punt Hour, and let's go ahead and bring in the host as always, DeMornay Pierson-El, we got him on the Allo VIP line where they understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. How's it going, man?
It's going good, enjoying this lovely night.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, if you like the thunderstorms, definitely. Were you worried about the hail at all last night, or no? Didn't even cross your mind? Because it got pretty hairy here in Lincoln.
It didn't cross my mind. I wasn't even worried about it, honestly.
You got a garage?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, that adds up. I don't, so a little more at the forefront of my mind. But nonetheless, we do got some NBA play-in games starting today, and I'm a little bit surprised by this one right off the bat. Again, it's only the first quarter, so bear in mind. Los Angeles Lakers, again, they're in the play-in over on the west side as the 8th seed, 47-35 record versus the 7th seeded 49-33 New Orleans Pelicans. And this one's interesting because if the Lakers do drop this one, they're going to have to play the winner of the Kings or Warriors. And we kind of talked about it yesterday about those are kind of tough matchups. The Kings, despite their youth, last season had the best offense in the NBA, and they're really not that far from it this year. It's just the defense hasn't been as good. And then you look at the Warriors, just a veteran, squad from top to bottom with the head coach all the way down to the players. Los Angeles Lakers, the Pelicans, were you expecting this one at all? Or do you think the Lakers are going to go ahead and figure out a way to close this thing out strong despite being down by 8 already in the first quarter?
It's the first quarter. It's a turtles race, not the hares race. I'm not worried at all. They got LeBron against a bunch of, people that haven't really, experienced that. So I'm not worried at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And then looks like we do get a text. Let me know if the audio sounds good. 402-464-5685. We did get one from an unknown texter, 4424. Let me know if it gets better. And again, anybody out there listening, go ahead and let me know if that audio is coming through for you guys. But yeah, I mean, with the Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron James, I do want to keep diving in on this because we're getting close to an end of an era with guys like Kevin Durant, LeBron James. They're getting older, and sooner or later, we're going to have a year where these guys just simply aren't in the league anymore. Does LeBron need this finals run and a possible championship at the end to get closer to being the greatest of all time? Because if I remember correctly, you're putting Michael Jordan there. If he somehow gets through this, being a play-in team, takes his team to the finals, is he getting into that contention to where it's even closer or even a no-brainer for you on LeBron James being the greatest of all time?
First off, I see what you're trying to do here. Don't bait me. Don't get me started. Okay. Secondly, it's my opinion. My opinion is Jordan. Period. LeBron is a different person in his own entirety. He is a GOAT. He may be some other people's GOAT. If he gets another championship, I mean, it adds to it. It won't hurt. But I mean, he's not moving in my book, and that's just me.
Yeah, absolutely. And DeMornay Pierson-El, real quick, we are going to throw it to break because I do think we got some audio issues going here. I want to make sure we get the full show in here. So this is going to be a short segment. And again, apologies for the late start. If you guys are listening in the car, Royals got pushed back. So we're going to go ahead, switch things up here, take a short break now, and we come back on the other side. We'll have some longer ones. So don't go anywhere. This is the Don't Punt Hour. Harrison North on the 1s and 2s, and DeMornay Pierson-El on the Allo VIP line. We'll talk to you guys in just a little bit.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rush into your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Be a memory for your grandchildren. Among Nebraska adults age 65 or older, 47% report current alcohol use. Drinking too much can cause harm to children, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, you will still be around for your grandchildren. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Whether you like fishing together or fishing to get away, for the thrill of reeling in a big one, or just going out to have a good time, on the banks of your local pond, at a bend in a river, or on one of our many lakes and reservoirs, you'll always find the perfect place to cast a line. Here. beneath Nebraska skies. Start planning your next fishing adventure today at letsfishnebraska.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Whether you like fishing together or fishing to get away, for the thrill of reeling in a big one, or just going out to have a good time, on the banks of your local pond, at a bend in a river, or on one of our many lakes and reservoirs, you'll always find the perfect place to cast a line. Here, beneath Nebraska skies. Start planning your next fishing adventure today at letsfishnebraska.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You're spending $300 a month. Binge drinking is the most common form of excessive drinking, which costs the United States more than $191 billion each year. By drinking less, you will save $300 a month. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Do you need motivation to get to the gym on the weekend or even in general? Tune into the Movement Hour each Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. Movement Academy owner Robert Kuhlman will host the show as he introduces new ways to stay in shape. The Movement Hour, every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de The Alzheimer's Association y The Ad Council.
I think it's just vapor. Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as one pack of cigarettes.
My kid
knows it's dangerous. 5.4 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weeknights. Once again, Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. You guys can always join in on the show starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. Streaming Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Allo channel 961. And again, if you're expecting Royals, it looks like they got rained out. So they have 2 games tomorrow instead, and we will carry those as always. Let's go ahead, bring him back in. DeMornay Pierson-El on the Allo VIP line. I'm pretty confident. Shout out to Eric, our tech guy here at the station. Let us know if you can't hear DPE out there, but we should be all set. No more audio problems for the rest of the show. DeMornay Pierson-El, we got done talking about it, the Lakers and the Pelicans. In that little break, about 5 minutes, tie game, 38-38. So as we're talking about the LeBron's legacy, What does he have to do in this run to try to achieve or even get more believers on his side for being the greatest of all time?
Maybe won a little bit more of the championships, he had lost, maybe, but I mean, he's all-time, scorer. That's nothing short. What he's done is astounding. Like, I'm not, taking anything away from him and everything like that. I mean, what he's done, nobody else has done it, and we probably won't see it, done the same way or done at all for a very long time or at all.
Mm-hmm.
So not so sure what exactly, could he have done, like I said, other than, maybe win 3 or 4 more championships and that even more over the top, get it. But like I said, I mean, my opinion is my opinion, and I'm just sticking with Jordan.
Yeah, I'm still a Jordan guy. I think I'm rolling with Jordan. I wonder, but if he were to somehow pull this off at being as low of a seed as they are, it does raise the question that LeBron James would be treading on some interesting territory where I do think that conversation gets a lot closer, and it's even worth having all over again. As tedious as those conversations can be, trying to debate who's the GOAT in terms of basketball, because there's a lot of guys that don't even get worth the mention at times. Bill Russell's always the one that sticks out. Like, yes, I understand his skill set might not be as impressive as the others, but to be that different and that good in that era, to stick out at all, again, that's the way he just impacted the game. Now, we'll ask this because LeBron also came up in an interesting era where you could argue Steph Curry had the bigger impact on the league despite LeBron's dominance. When it comes to you, who has had the biggest impact on the NBA, LeBron James or Steph Curry? Because this era is kind of split.
See, I think that's unfair because the game of basketball is ever evolving and changing. They're two different types of styles of dudes. And, both of them, have unique skills. Not a lot of kids can do what LeBron do, but you can practice, your shot and develop you being a better shooter. So you're more likely to get closer to Steph than you are with LeBron. And I think, a lot more people are more comfortable with trying to achieve that and, more confidence behind that. So not to say that, he's changed the game. It's just, what he was doing, a lot more people felt more comfortable conquering that or going after trying to be like that.
Yeah, I would argue, I think Steph Curry by far and away changed the impact of the game of basketball. And you can argue for better or for worse, but his impact on the game, if you've been to an open gym, you've probably seen some ugly jumpers out there with kids that have taken some way too deep of 3-point shots. But it has come to a point where the 3-point shooting, ever since Steph Curry and the Warriors and Steve Kerr and Klay Thompson, the Splash Brothers, like in their heyday, they have truly changed the game of basketball. And that's why I do think this era, LeBron's dominance, a lot longer. You could argue more impressive, but Steph Curry's impact to me is might be up there with even guys like Michael Jordan. Not that he's a better player, but the way the game is played now is such a image of what Steph Curry did to the game. And you might not like it, but the 3-point ball, I mean, that just seems like it's become everything in the league. And that really wasn't the case until Steph Curry just started taking over. We got an unknown text here. In a world of hypotheticals, how many championships would LeBron have with the 90s Bulls and Jordan with the 06 Cavs? That is actually a fantastic question right there. LeBron James with the 90s Bulls or vice versa, you put Michael Jordan on the 06 Cavs.
You giving LeBron James in their prime?
I'm assuming in their primes. For the sake of the argument, we'll say
You
that.
giving LeBron feel in an era where they were struggling with Grant Hill. So his game is, far developed and far beyond what Grant Hill was. Grant Hill, was a problem for a lot of people because nobody was doing, what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's hard. But again, you don't know if LeBron goes out and gets, the Rodmans and everything. Like, you don't know if that's necessarily still the same team or whatnot. That's different. because I believe, Jordan is just Jordan. He's going to find a way regardless. But he also could have not been Jordan if Phil would have never got there. So that is a very good question, and that one has me overthinking a lot.
It is tough. Like, definitely the Bulls are going to look like the better roster out of the two, right? With the Bulls, you got Tony Kukoc. Obviously, Scottie Pippen. You got Dennis Rodman.
I mean, you talk about a team that LeBron himself didn't even win a championship with, and you're moving LeBron to a team where they won a championship with. Like, that's a little inconsistent, but whatever.
It's tough because the rosters are just way imbalanced, and that's why I think with LeBron in 06, that run they had was impressive. Because if you're looking at LeBron James and his team, Shannon Brown, not bad. I'm trying to think of big names in there. I mean, not a lot of guys that are necessarily going to be eye-catching.
Probably.
Yep, he's on there.
Larry Hughes, Mo Williams, probably.
We got LeBron would have won 8 in the 90s. We got insightful dude chiming in here. Jordan's dominant in the league for 10 years. LeBron may have been the best player in the league for 2 or 3 years in his career. He never dominated the league. It's a fair point, right? Because even LeBron in his prime, it's like, are you looking at the Warriors? It's just like such an unfair battle because you're looking at LeBron James going against the Splash Brothers, which was good enough in itself. And then they add Kevin Durant at one point as well.
If the Warriors don't get Kevin Durant, I think they win. I think LeBron gets probably 2 more titles.
You said LeBron gets 2 more titles.
If the Warriors don't have Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I agree with you. Kevin Durant really swung that whole thing, and I think that's where the hate wagon came for the Golden State Warriors and seeing Kevin Durant over there. And it's just disappointing because that OKC team was so fun to watch. And to see that dissolve, not a pleasant sight, especially when you're going to a powerhouse like that. But, man, if you're an OKC fan, though, you probably don't feel too bad about it. The future is looking bright for you guys sitting number 1 in the Western Conference, a loaded Western Conference. But that is the problem with these arguments because I would hope LeBron gets a ring on that roster because, yes, that we mentioned how many great players are on that team, but also the fact that you got Phil Jackson as the coach, if we are talking kind of that golden era Bulls, that's huge.
That alone, gets things done. And Phil was there when Jordan stepped away, and the Bulls were terrible. So it's not all just Phil.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan was a huge piece of that. So there's a lot of tangibles. There's a lot of things to look at. I'm not just going to definitive say, oh, yeah, this will be that, because I don't think it will go that smoothly.
Yeah, it's the biggest problem trying to compare eras because how much of the guy that were the future guy compared to the past guy, their games are built off of what the past was. And that's why when we talk about guys like Bill Russell, it always kind of frustrates me how little he's talked about because I understand no one's looking at him saying that his skill set, everything he did was so much better than anything we see today. I mean, it was definitely impressive.
Because our parents were kids back then, maybe, or they weren't even born.
Exactly.
Probably. So nobody really remember. I mean, they got film of it, but who's really trying to watch that? That's horrible film.
It's just
the quality is awful. Like, so I get it, but I mean, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, it's just different eras. And like, this is the impossible task of how do you take a guy who played in the game 30? I mean, even just look at the NBA like 10 years ago and what a drastically different product it is now than it was just 10 years ago. The game changes so much that when you're trying to compare these greats, like I'm still always going to kind of fall on Michael Jordan because of the dominance, and yes, I do think that something about having that finals record, I understand he didn't just blow through the playoffs, and that doesn't get talked about enough when you do talk about Jordan, is that he wasn't just winning every single time he made the playoffs. There was some growth getting to it and then going on that run of never losing in the finals. So there was a growth, and that doesn't ever get highlighted. But when he was at his peak, you didn't feel like anybody had a chance out there. I mean, it really felt like, and I'm not there watching it, obviously, I'm only 25 years old, but just hearing the stories, going back, watching the highlights, all the documentaries, and then balancing it out, watching some LeBron documentaries and all LeBron's greatness. And Lord knows how many he's going to have once he retires. Maybe he'll have a 30 for 30, kind of like Jordan did, and everyone will be saying LeBron James is the greatest of all time. but it does become an impossible task because so much of their game's based on the past. But I'm still going to go with Michael Jordan. You guys keep feeling free to text in here, 402-464-5685. We'll finish with this one, 4424. I'm just saying that what LeBron had to work with is nothing, and you are correct, and that's, I think, what he's pointing out. I mean, we look at this 06 when he says work with nothing, and this is what makes LeBron James impressive. I mean,
it's apples and oranges. Like, that's his opinion. Like, the team was terrible. I get that. But, I mean, it's still, at the end of the day, like, you can't not downplay Jordan, period. Jordan, the game has come and developed from what he was doing.
Yep. And then I'll go on to finish this text.
He created certain rules and stuff to be done and whatnot because of him. Everybody chases him. If your name isn't as high or your brand isn't anywhere that can compel to that, like, what are we talking about? So you still trying to compare everything to Jordan. So, I mean, I get it, but it's like I said, Jordan, that's what it is for me. And, for, the kids that are younger and coming up, it'll be LeBron, it'll be Curry, which they grew up with that. That they're right. They didn't see, Jordan go off, or they didn't see Jordan play or whatnot, or what, things may have impacted and whatnot. So I get it, but I'm not buying it. It's still Jordan.
I feel like this is just a lost element in this. In what it, oddly enough, I don't know how it equates, but it definitely feels that way with fan bases, is your loyalty to a team. And I'll expand on that, but I want to finish with this text here. And he says, talking about the 06, unknown texter 4424, with that 06, yes, I get impressive because it wasn't a great team. LeBron came in there and immediately kind of started dominating, especially that year, really took over. He's saying the Bulls had multiple Hall of Famers and the best coach of all time. But this is my point with LeBron James, is that he's never stuck around anywhere for very long. And at a certain point, when you're just team hopping and you're the guy kind of driving the free agents that you get here, how is it not LeBron's fault that he doesn't have the team around him that's needed to win? I mean, he's called lead GM for a reason. The guy gets deals done, and he gets the guys he wants to play with for the most part. At the Lakers, it hasn't felt like it's quite been like that all the time for him. Once he got that AD trade, they did get a ring out of it, but nonetheless, it was only the one ring. LeBron James going hopping to team when you are playing a strong role on who gets there, even coaches. Who's going to coach the team? He feels like it's part of that process. And this is obviously speculation, but I think you'd be a fool to not at least speculate a little bit on his involvement with the players and coaches who land on the team that gets there. And I think that's why he didn't go with the Cavs anymore, because getting guys to Cleveland was a tough task. So he goes to the Heat, fine, fair enough, but then he goes again. And it's just a constant movement. And then you think about Michael Jordan, you think about a Kobe Bryant, you think about a Steph Curry, even though Steph Curry isn't in that greatest of all time range, like I think, he is with LeBron and Michael.
He got four rings, so you can talk about it.
Yeah, so he's still high up there. And those guys seem to always have that better story, because is loyalty a fair thing to look at when you're actually talking about the greatest of all time? Like players that sit in a location.
Does that diminish what LeBron has done?
I think he'd have more rings if he would have picked a home. Like, imagine if LeBron's entire career was with Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat. Does he have more rings than today?
I think so, and I think it's a more attractive place for people to come and for people to go and play with. But the other thing was, who really wanted to play with LeBron? Because after he left Miami, like he didn't have that same type of caliber of dudes around him. Mm-hmm. Like that Miami roster that he had, that he was with down there. I mean, top to bottom, that was a mob. You got Udonis Haslem, which would probably be another Hall of Famer, probably.
I think so, yeah.
Mario Chalmers, which wasn't easy. You got Birdman, which he
was good in his prime. He was really good in his prime. I have a lot of respect for Birdman.
For what they needed down there. Like, so after he left Miami, I don't think he had as strong of a caliber team. So it's like, is that really LeBron's fault for saying, no, I don't want certain dudes to come here and play or whatnot? I mean, he was already at that time, 6-7 championships straight going to the finals. So you're going to at least be in it. You got a 50-50 chance of winning it. why wasn't that attracting more dudes? Was it solely just because of LeBron or whatnot? Regardless what, people were saying about Jordan and everything like that. I mean, they had a few people come in and come out and whatnot, but, people respected him or hated him and wanted to compete against him. I don't really feel like that same treatment is going for LeBron. Like, I don't feel like, dudes hate him enough to where it's like, it's this and that. Now, if you say Kobe, I feel like a lot of more animosity or a lot of more, and not just because, he just recently passed away and whatnot.
Right.
But I feel like, the threat or the fear of, going through them or playing them was bigger. So I don't know why, after Miami, he didn't really, have strong teams after that.
Yeah, I just think it's tough. Like when you have an organization that's going to take on a massive LeBron James contract, and maybe some people just don't like playing second fiddle. I mean, that's straight up why Kyrie Irving left, and told us why he left. And though he regrets it today, he's kind of made statements at least hinting towards some sort of regret that he felt that way about it. Maybe he'd still do the same thing, but the mind behind it might have been different. It's just when you constantly leave teams, you're not guaranteed anything. And even if you bring up Kobe, when Shaq was gone, you could have argued, man, things are looking bleak for Kobe Bryant and the Los Angeles Lakers. But Kobe sticks around. He keeps playing. One point even threatened leaving. And that's another thing that people don't talk about enough. Kobe was legitimately looking. And then, of course, it gets shut down. The owner calls it. He's like, absolutely not. We're going to keep Kobe. Kind of in the mindset, I don't even care if he wants to leave. We're not trading Kobe Bryant just because he wants to get out of here. And they figure out a way to make it work. And then all of a sudden, here comes Pau Gasol, and here comes a few more rings. I just think if you stick to teams, you show that loyalty, typically you got a better work environment. You're willing to figure out you're more able to figure those things out. And you can argue being LA, Miami, those are both huge markets. So I do think with LeBron's legacy, that not that these guys are wrong for constantly getting the next best contract. I mean, hey, they're making millions of dollars while I'm nowhere near that. So how can I really blame them for it? But at the same time, it just feels like, I'll use one of the quotes, classic quote, shout out Sadio Fenner on the UNL track team. The grass is always greener on the other side, but the grass is also greener where you water it. And we have so many players constantly hopping ship. Look at the Brooklyn Nets, James Harden, Steve Nash at the head coach, who they hired then just to push out of the door once they didn't like him anymore. But James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, awesome record when they played together, but they couldn't even get along with each other enough, or at least maybe it was the coaching, maybe it was stuff behind the doors, but they couldn't get through whatever it was. And I think they only lost like 5 games out of 20 when they were playing together, and they just barely gave it a run, and they just constantly move over to the next side. So, you know what? When it comes to LeBron's legacy, I know I'm kind of being ranty here, but I'm getting excited about the NBA playoffs as we're going here, because I think Nikola Jokic, and I'm going to keep hyping this guy up, he's in some scary territory too. If we're going to talk about the greatest, that greatest center position is being tested right now by Nikola Jokic, and he's good start to the playoffs. We'll find out. But when it comes to LeBron's legacy, we'll forget about even if he wins this finals. What to you has been LeBron's impact on the NBA? Like, by when he's all said and done, you can say this was a direct impact because of LeBron James, good or bad.
I think he gave players more of a voice. He was more vocal.
I think we lost you a little bit there. You said he was more vocal.
He was more vocal on necessarily what was going on, what the players didn't like, speaking up when the lockout things were going on and everything like that. He was a person, who stepped forward with stuff like that. As far as like on the court stuff, I mean, he was a superstar. I mean, he was the face, of the league, or co-face of the league and whatnot. So, I mean, from stealing, from, blocking somebody's shot off the backboard, or, flashing dunks or whatnot, or from maybe not doing the dunk contest and starting all this other BS. That's probably what he's going to be known for, honestly, mostly.
Yeah, I'd say he's going to be known for just his longevity and just his ability to maintain elite level of play for so long. I think his biggest impact on the game was understanding how you can extend the career of great players. That is maybe not so much to the fan base, but certainly within players, what LeBron's been able to kind of figure out and at least influence other players, that you can maximize the hell out of your career if you do what LeBron James does. You might not have all the money to go in deep as he has, but definitely kind of proved the road that even if you're a guy playing high minutes every single year, high points, rebounds, assists, whatever, does lead the league in turnovers too. But I love Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant used to have that record, so I'm not going to bash him on it, but it's just impressive that you can maintain that. So I think that's definitely part of his legacy. Outside of that, it's not fair, but I'm not going to say this is all on him, because there were, teams before him that kind of did the super team thing. Kevin Durant was the capitalization on that with the Warriors, but LeBron, man, when he left the Cavaliers, that really ignited the let's meet up with between players. And whether you think this is right or wrong, getting these kind of offhand conversations with GMs, other players, when it's, within legal time to do so, and putting these super teams together. And that's the one thing about the league today that I probably hate the most, is that you don't see these organic built teams. And that's why I think the team like the Thunder are as good as they are right now, because they have that organic built and they let these young guys figure each other out, play with each other, build up that team chemistry. And now you're seeing a young team, number one in a loaded Western Conference. I just think that's incredibly important. But yeah, for me, it's by far and away going to be his impact to sustain greatness. And there's no doubts about that. Like, it's different for a guy like Tom Brady. It's impressive as hell, but playing quarterback, you don't have to be the most athletic guy out there. Basketball, if you're not very athletic out there, it's a very tough thing to do unless you got some crazy playmaking or touch like a guy like Nikola Jokic. But yeah, that's to me going to be LeBron's legacy. But you're still a Jordan guy by this entire conversation is what I'm taking it, in terms of greatest of all time.
Completely.
And then we do got one more from the unknown texter. He says, for the record, a Jordan fan, not a LeBron. He still says LeBron James is the GOAT. Yeah, and that's
your opinion.
Yeah, and that's, I can't even hate people for having that opinion. I shouldn't say hate. That's a strong word. Disagree with people too much, simply for the fact that you are comparing different generations. And comparing generations in the NBA is borderline impossible at times, especially when you get into the elite of the elite. It's just hard, because especially when you're breaking down centers, center position has changed so much. So to compare a Jokic to someone way back in the day is almost impossible to do, because it's so much different. You can't actually compare him to Wilt Chamberlain, which is crazy. He's getting to those numbers. But yeah, with that being said, we'll go ahead, throw it to our last break here. Last segment will be a little long because, again, we had Royals. That's why the show took off a little late. They got rained out. So if you are a Royals fan and you're expecting the call tonight, you'll get 2 of those tomorrow instead. So don't go anywhere. This is the Don't Punt Hour live here on Ticket Weeknights, and you guys can always join in. 402-464-5685. You've been great so far. We'll talk to you in a little bit.
One action, no matter how small, can have a world of impact on the life of a child. Cedars started because one couple believed that they could provide a child with a better life. And that belief grew into the Cedars that we know today. A powerful force for good that helps thousands of kids across Nebraska. Belief grows.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People Seeding Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, we all do a little, we change a lot.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends. That's the greatest compliment we can receive. If you've been in an accident, we'll get you back in your vehicle as quickly as possible. Our technicians care about you and your family and repair your vehicle to factory standards. We handle your claim from start to finish and provide a free loaner car. Stop by for a free estimate. Eustace Body Shop, just south of 88th and Highway 2.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment of the Don't Punt Hour here on Ticket Weeknights, and we'll keep this thing rolling. Afterwards, we got another former Husker followed by another former Husker. We got 3 hours of former football players of Nebraska football. We got Pierson-El to Nuri to Chance of Brewington. So it's always great 3 hours lined up here for Ticket Weeknights. Nonetheless, I do want to get some quick news out, and then I want to dive back into the NBA because, to be honest, it's one of my favorite times of year in the Western Conference this year. Has just been incredible. It should be an awesome NBA playoffs. If you guys haven't been following all season, definitely start paying attention now because these playoffs should be anything but boring. I think it's going to be awesome pretty much all the way through. East, a little different, but we'll get into that later. But Nebraska basketball and more basketball news got Gavin Griffiths out of Rutgers, transferred in. Last season, let's see, he averaged about 18 minutes. Okay, shooting 32% from the floor, 28% from three, about a 60% free throw shooter. But the real key is here, He averaged, I think he got a block as a game as well. Not quite, about 0.6 if you want to round that up, and only 5.8 points per game. But the real, I think, draw for a guy like this is he's 6'8". And I do think a lot of the shots he was taking were tougher over at Rutgers, harder for him to get open. But we're adding a guy who is 6'8", I believe. Let's see here. Yep, 6'8", true 6'8". If you remember him, he was with the Goggles last season when we played him, number 10 at the guard position, and he's a freshman. Next year will be his sophomore season. Thoughts on Nebraska adding in a 6'8" guard? Gavin Griffiths averaged 5.8 points per game, 2.2 rebounds, 0.6 assists, and 32% from the floor. Damari Pierson-El, you still there?
Still here.
Okay, I wonder if you might have lost me there for a second. Thoughts on Gavin Griffiths, the guard out of Rutgers? Nebraska basketball is able to get him in. He's 6'8". Okay, rough shooting numbers, but I don't think he was always getting the best shot selection on that roster. I think he was trying to force a lot of them up. Also wasn't taking a ton. So small sample size. One eye catcher is only a 60% free throw shooter. That's a little bit concerning. That's typically a pretty good sign of how good of a shooter they are. But you do hope they got to work on that. Maybe it's a development thing, but he's only a freshman. Next year, he'll be a sophomore. Thoughts on Nebraska adding him through the portal?
Where's he from originally?
Rutgers. If you remember him, he was the one with the goggles. 6'8", really tall guard. Goggles stick out, man. If you're wearing the goggles, you're always going to stick out.
Adding depth is always good. So regardless of, he might have needed, a new change of things, he could be plugged in and used differently here and whatnot. He found something he likes. He's got a second place to, a second chance to show, what he can do and whatnot. So, it's a good thing for us.
Yeah, I've been liking the addition so far. We got a couple now, 2 days in a row here. If you remember, we got Raleigh Worcester, another pretty big guard, true point guard as well. The only concern right now is the shooting numbers. I think we got to get some better shooters in here. Juwan Gary, I like his game. His 3-point shot is still, I think, way better than what I expected heading into the season. Love Juwan Gary's game. Good at attacking the rim. Now we got a point guard that can really set things up as well when we got some deep rotation in there. But we need to get some shooters. Rink Mast, I hope he has a good next season because I think he's going to have to be a big part of that. Especially, I still think we're missing a true 5. Just being in the Big Ten is brutal. But hey, if you're throwing in a 6'8" point guard, guard, he's not playing the true point guard, but a guard nonetheless, that's certainly going to help you in size playing Big Ten basketball. So we'll keep you guys updated on Nebraska basketball as they continue to make some moves here. But I'm a fan of that one. Getting Gavin Griffiths, he was high on the board for a lot of teams. Yes, the numbers aren't eye-popping, but a young player, a freshman, he showed a lot of promise. And if you followed him all last season, this is a guy that I think you should be excited about simply because I think he can fit really well in the system. But that's kind of where I'm at with Gavin Griffiths. Again, we'll keep you updated on more players as they come in through the portal. But let's move on. All NBA first team, as the regular season has come to a close, it is now getting time to vote. And as I mentioned before, the West has been so contentious. This list is borderline impossible to make, or at least feels impossible to make. But let's just go ahead and try to speculate who you think those players will be. And we'll just go from the guards to the forwards to the center. Let's start out with the center because I think that's the easy one. Who is your guess that you think should be all NBA first team in the center position?
Jokic, probably easily. It's not even close.
Yeah, Jokic. I mean, he's putting up Wilt Chamberlain numbers for. It's incredible what that guy's doing. Yeah, I don't think there's a question there. Let's go ahead. Let's move it to the forwards position. You got a mixed bag here. I'll throw some names out there at you. You got guys like Kawhi Leonard. He's kind of been in and out, but played enough and secretly had one of his best seasons. You got guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jason Tatum. Trying to think of some more guys that might be on that list. Take a peek at my cheat sheet here. I know I'm missing some. To me, it's kind of coming down to those. I don't see a lot of other guys. Kevin Durant, he's on a lot of people's list. I just don't think he's had that same level of productivity. What are you thinking in terms of forwards? And you don't have to go in any order here. Give me a couple of guys at the forward position that you think deserve to be on this list for the first team.
Early on, of course, Tatum. But Tatum just doesn't play that position. So you can put him at different, positions and whatnot. So I don't want to just say, that just because of that. You can got Giannis. I know he's been hurt and whatnot.
Should be back for game one for all Bucks fans out there, or guys just like to watch phenomenal athletes. He should hopefully be back for game one versus the Pacers.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably put Giannis probably right there at that 4 spot probably.
I think I agree with you 100%. I'm putting Tatum and Giannis. I'm taking both those forwards. Tatum has been I understand these lists are kind of silly in the fact that you're probably not going to actually have that exact lineup out there. But to me, it's got to be Tatum, and it's got to be Giannis Antetokounmpo. This is where it gets tough for me. Not necessarily with my point guard. I'm just going to give you mine first. I think it's got to be Luka Doncic, another foreign player. It's crazy. You look at this list. SGA, Canada, Luka, Serbia, Jokic, Serbia, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Why am I blanking on his nationality? Nonetheless, another foreign player. Jason Tatum, the only American on this first All-NBA team, because I gave it away, but I got SGA at my 2. Anthony Edwards is kind of flirting in there. I might put him over SGA, but number 1 with a young team like that, I'm hard-pressed to put anyone above Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I got Luka, and I got Shai. Who do you got for the point guard and shooting guard?
I'll go Luka, and this is me personally. I'll go Luka, and we already used Tatum, correct?
Yeah, you'd be looking at guys like Anthony Edwards, Devin
I would
Booker.
say Luka and Edwards. Luka and Edwards, that's just who it is for me. Shai is just like it's tough, but I feel like what Anthony has done, like you can't not put him in there. Like you can't not do that.
Yeah, I gotta have Shai in there. It's just
that to each his own.
Yeah, I mean it's fair. I mean, just like kind of going through some of the stats here. I know the Thunder are so impressive this year, and Shai Gilgeous is the leader of that team. What do you think the average age of the Oklahoma City Thunder is right now?
Probably 24.
Wow, you are good at this. 23.9. you were right there. 23.9 years old, and they secured the number 1 seed in the most brutal conference in that Western side. It is crazy that he has led that team, and I love my guy Chris Paul. I'm going to give him his flowers too, because I think a lot of people disregard how great of a leader Chris Paul can be to developing players, but I got him there. Honorable mentions. Do you think Kevin Durant should be on this list anywhere, or even a Kawhi Leonard?
Honorable mention, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there anybody else I'd swap out? I do feel like that top's pretty jam-packed. It's really the guards you can argue, and guys like SGA. Anthony Edwards, what are your thoughts on him? Do you think, because I'm close to almost putting him over SGA, but I just can't, simply for the fact that the Thunder are so young and they're number 1, and SGA did kind of lead that team all season long.
Like I said, it's either or. I like Ant. He speak his mind. He talk trash, and he brought that action on any occasion. He's a walking bucket, and he got the money of what he deserves. He's been doing that consistently, not just 1 year. Like I said, I mean, between him and Shai, I mean, you can interchangeable. Those are the only 2. I think that I'm like I struggle with. Lucas for sure on there, but Anthony is just a monster. And it's been kind of brewing, kind of since. Probably it's like his second year, in Minnesota and everything like that. So it's just hard. He's to me, him and kind of Ja Morant are similar on the same levels. I just think Ja is just a little bit more louder with some stuff and everything like that. But as far as explosives and playing and whatnot and what they're doing for their teams and their organizations, and just being the centerpiece of things, Ant is right there. He's like I said, he's been more consistent and not just doing it, for 1 year. Yeah,
that's fair. And if I'm picking the more exciting player to watch, I'm picking Anthony Edwards all day long. Impressive play from both those guys. It's crazy it's crazy the era we're in right now, because we're going to get closer. We got the All USA Olympic team coming up as well, and they're going to need it. We're going to need some serious NBA talent heading into this for Team USA, because as we laid out this first All-NBA team, you and me both only had 1 American. All of the other 4 guys were foreign players. So it's going to be interesting. I will say I was thinking about throwing Kawhi Leonard. I couldn't figure out if I want to replace Jason Tatum or Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think he's kind of one of those fringe guys. Again, Kawhi Leonard, sneaky good season for him.
If he's healthy,
Yeah,
that's the thing. That's the thing with Kawhi that typically gets me and everything like that. He plays heck of a player, but it's just you never know which Kawhi you're gonna get.
And that's fair, and that's always a fair argument. I mean, he doesn't play very consistently, and you do weigh that in because if you're thinking about the NBA, reliability factors in, and if you're constantly kind of in and out, although this was a healthier season from him, we're getting towards the end here, and knee soreness may be a problem for him heading into the playoffs. But that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for us. A lot of heavy NBA talk, a little bit of Husker basketball, but it's that time of year. We got the play-in going on right now, and just for a quick update, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Pelicans, 63-53. The Lakers flipping on the Pelicans in a hurry. Third quarter, 10 minutes left to go. If it's anything reminiscent of the last regular season game between these guys, expect the Los Angeles Lakers in a big win. But that's going to wrap it up for us. Shout out to DeMarne Pierson-El on the Allo VIP line. We'll talk to you guys again tomorrow.